So at this point, you have already obtained your EdFi API credentials for the 24-25 school year. You have already deactivated your previous year's profile, the 23-24 school year profile. You've created a new profile for this year, and you've plugged in your key secret and API URL. Those are your EdFi API credentials, and configured everything for your data exchange on the general setup page so that you are ready to publish data. And this page will now be available to you. So in this video, we are going to walk you through how to do your publishing. So first of all, the way to access this page is going to be to go through data and reporting, and then you click on data exchange, and that's how we get here. A few things about this page. Note that your profile for the year is selected right there. And you'll see at the top of the page a section labeled descriptors, common codes. That's something you're going to have to download to begin. We'll do that in just a second. You're going to see a bunch of categories in this published data column. These more or less refer to EdFi resources or clusters of EdFi resources that PowerSchool has grouped here for you. And you're going to publish these one at a time straight through. And for your initial data push or data publishing, it might take a little bit more time to get data all the way through for these first three categories. But once you've done that, I think you'll find that it's a lot easier moving forward. And once you have a full data push for everything below that, it gets even easier from there to maintain it week over week, because you can just you can start doing publish changes instead of publish all. And we'll talk about what that means. And down at the bottom, you have some categories that you can schedule. You have attendance, student grades, transcript surveys, survey question, survey response, and survey question response. These survey categories are kind of seasonal. The South Carolina Department of Education really only needs survey data for school climate surveys at this point in time for EdFi. So if there's a reason why you would like to publish these to have your LEA, your district or school created survey data in your EdFi ODS, you're welcome to publish those, but you don't really need to worry about them until later in the year when you have Department of Education surveys, or if for some reason a new Department of Education survey is released, we would let you know that. So, okay, let's scroll back up to the top of the page. Now, you may have an option to schedule these top three. And if you do, then that's great. You can go ahead and take advantage of that. Right now in the test server that I'm seeing, I'm not seeing the scheduling option. So we'll talk about that in a second. The first thing that I'm going to do is download my descriptors. So to do that, I'll come over here to Run Now. I'm going to click Run Now, and it will say successfully completed. Now I'll give it just a second. I'm going to refresh the page because it really successfully started, but it probably hasn't entirely finished just yet. And it says it's downloading. Yes, so it's in the process of doing that. And in just a second, I'm going to see a number other than 0 start to appear in my downloaded column. I can refresh. Some of you might like to use this refresh timer. I don't love that because then it catches me off guard. Sometimes when I'm trying to do something, it refreshes the page. So I prefer to control that myself. But if you like that, you can do that. It might take a few minutes for this to finish. I'm going to fast forward the video a bit for you so you don't have to sit here while I'm waiting for this, but you could kick this off. It will take it a few minutes to finish. Usually the descriptor download doesn't take too terribly long, but it can take a few minutes. Okay, great. Now I'm done. It says downloading no, so I take that to mean it has finished, and this is the number that I see downloaded. Your number might be a little different. So this is a test server. We're doing testing, so sometimes things look a little bit different in terms of the scenarios that have been set up here. Once that part is done, then I'm going to take a look at organization info. Now, if you have the ability to schedule that on your screen, you can do that. One thing to note about the org info, organization calendars, and organization schedules categories is that these three categories sometimes take a little additional publishing right at the beginning of the year to get all of the data through. So I'm going to go ahead and start by kicking off organization info. And I will start. I have the Run Now option. Again, if you have the scheduling option, you can do that. But either way, make sure that you start out by selecting a Publish All. Okay, so your publishing option is Publish All. Submit that. And again, we'll have to wait until that finishes processing. So under processing, it says waiting. Eventually, that's going to change, and we'll have another notification there of what's happening. And eventually, we'll start to see a number over here. When the published column stops incrementing, and the processing column goes back to 0, then you can safely assume that it has finished publishing, at least for that particular push that you just did. All right, note that my processing column has changed. It now says started. So there's some progress. I'm getting somewhere. I also have some errors, so we'll see if we can see what we can do with those here in a minute. We won't be too alarmed by those because remember, I told you it might take a second to get everything published that needs to be published there. Now I am speeding up the video for you. This is taking a few minutes, so you could walk away, do something, check your email, come back to it. Notice that here my publishing has a number. I have a number appearing in errors. This is not necessarily something to be alarmed about. Okay, these might just be errors that sometimes crop up with that initial data push when we're publishing everything for the first time. And then we have a number in the published category. So right now my processing column has a number in it. So there's some change there. Great, my processing column has gone back to 0. My published number has stopped incrementing, and I do have some errors, but here's what we're going to do before we even really look at these, because we know that it's possible to have some errors that are kind of bogus right here at the first publish. Let's just go ahead and do a run now, and we're going to do a publish errors. So let's give that a try. Some of you might like to try retry errors. I'm going to go ahead and do a publish errors, and I'm going to hit submit and see if any of those might go away for me. My processing column has gone back to waiting. Right now, you'll notice that at some point when you refresh, you might see that processing has again changed to started, and you have a number publishing, and then hopefully your errors will start to go down and your published will increase. Some of these will be pushed through. Now, don't get too excited when the button turns blue again, because some of these might still error when they come through. So we'll just kind of wait and see what happens, but it's reevaluating those records that had previously errored. Here I notice that my processing has gone down to 0, but I have a few that are still publishing. The good news is that my published count has gone up, so some of these were pushed through. Let's refresh again and see what happens. All right, great news. My processing has gone back to 0. My published number has incremented, and I have no more errors. So you can see this is a great example of a very typical first publish for the year for one of these top 3 categories. So now that I've done that, I've gotten this down with as few errors as possible here. So in this case, 0, which is great. I feel confident moving on to organization calendars. Now, is it possible that you will have some errors that stick? Well, sure. There are things, legitimate things that can cause errors. And if you have something that errors out and you're not sure what it is, feel free to reach out to us, especially at the beginning of the year, because if this is not your first time publishing to Ed5 for a school year, you might have a sense of whether or not you're seeing an error that is typical or not if you do have one. And so feel free to reach out to us if you see something atypical. If you are new in your role and this is all brand new to you, we do have some resources to help you learn about those things, but you're also welcome to reach out. It could be that if you have an error that it's something as simple as an easy fix, or it could be a bug. I don't think that we have any that we're seeing right now for organization info. Obviously, it would take a minute to go through all of these for you in this dashboard. So what I'm going to do is just tell you, after having done this first category, you're going to essentially do the same thing with organization calendars. Publishing errors, again, if you have them. By the way, if you have dependencies, so something in this column that sticks, it's a kind of error. It's a little bit different, but it's still a kind of error. So if you needed to, you could always run a publish dependencies to try to push those through. Typically, if you try to work through your errors first, sometimes that automatically will resolve some of your dependencies. Once you have a pretty clean publish for these top 3, then you can feel confident moving down and doing a publish all for each of these. Again, if you have the ability to schedule these top 3, you can take advantage of that, so that if you wanted to, you could, maybe have this top one set to run every so often, and then you could come back to it. When you get down to these bottom categories, the on-demand data categories, you're going to first do attendance, then student grades, then transcripts. You really don't need to worry about surveys, like I said, right now. These are big categories, and they take a while to run, especially when you're doing a publish all. Of course, at the beginning of the year, they'll be a bit quicker. So where you'll really see these start to be slow might be later in the year, when you start to have attendance and student grades, and transcripts might actually be slow from the get-go, because you're already going to have a lot of records there that are publishing for your enrolled students. For attendance, you would come over here, click schedule, and it says collection will not be started for all schools. Do you want to continue? So yes, I do. I'm doing this at the district office level. You can do this at the school level, but it's good to do it at the district level regularly. So we're going to say okay. It takes me then to this screen. So for my first publish, I would do a publish all. and I don't really need to enable this trace log right now. And I can either run it now and just hit submit, or I can schedule this. Maybe the day's almost over. I can schedule this to kick off this evening and let it run overnight or something like that if I want to. I can also schedule it to repeat every so often. With the publish all, you're probably not going to want to, if you do schedule it, you're probably not going to want to have it scheduled for a publish all for too terribly long. You would want to be really strategic about that, because that's a lot of records, and you might want to have those things running at night or sometime when it wouldn't potentially slow things down for you. Once everything has published pretty thoroughly as a first data push in your dashboard, you're going to be able to start just thinking about publishing changes. So that would be this one right here. And that would be, once you reach that point in the year, hopefully pretty quickly you'll reach that point, then you could definitely schedule your published changes to run weekly, daily if you wanted. I would not recommend making it as far apart as monthly. You definitely want to at least do published changes weekly for all of these categories. I'm not going to kick that off right now because I haven't kicked off my other categories. So again, once you've gone all the way through the dashboard, except for surveys, you can leave those for right now. We'll get to those later. Maybe you've gone all the way through transcripts. You've got a pretty good base publishing for those. Then you are welcome to go back through all the way through and start with org info each week and just run your published changes. It is not a bad idea each week before you do any publishing to just download your descriptors again. I always do that before I publish, and it's a good idea in case one or two descriptors were added. And then again, once you've got that publish all, that base data for everything at the beginning of the year, you can feel confident in weekly doing your published changes. Just note that you will have the occasional need to publish all, or you might have something that you're trying to troubleshoot. Let's say you have an error and you're trying to figure out what it is. There may be different options that you want to use as you investigate that. And that's where our team can certainly support you and help you learn how those work and how you can use those in your troubleshooting. One other word on errors. In this dashboard, chances are, if you have any red at this point in time, aside from just like those errors that were kind of bogus that we had to massage out right there at the beginning, beyond that, if you have anything at this point in time, chances are it's either it's some sort of a bug that we're aware of that's being worked on, or it's something that could be resolved using your level data validations. So please make sure you're using level data before you come in here and worry too much about data quality issues. If your level data validations are clear, you really should not be running into data quality errors in this Ed5 dashboard. And you can kind of trust that any errors that you're seeing are something that we probably know about. So thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all you do. And that's what you need to know. And we hope you have a great year.